sassy, a little bit crazy, a little bit classy. We got dreams and we got goals. We're just a couple of old sassholes.
Hello. Every time.
Yes.
I'm not used to sitting in the captain's seat.
Yeah, I mean, whatever. Hey, everyone. Welcome to A Couple of Sassholes podcast. I'm Brooklyn Maple.
And I am Heather Terry.
And we are so excited to have you guys visit us again for our true crime podcast, where we tell you crazy stories about crazy things that leave you feeling a little bit different.
You
every
nailed that
time.
one.
Yeah.
I love that
Especially
the
after
intro
last
is
one.
different every time.
Mostly because I sometimes forget what we're doing. Where are we and what is happening? And I don't know that I was ready. She wasn't ready.
Well, you are now.
I am. I'm
Welcome.
pumped.
We are gracing ear holes across the nation.
Yes, with our sassy little sassholes. We're really excited that the necrophiliac one apparently went pretty well.
Y'all like that.
I was hoping it was a really fucked up storyline, and it was
Either
pretty
that or-
jazzy bear.
I think we got some new ones.
Oh, I hope
So
we did.
welcome.
Yes, welcome. If this is your first time, we hope it's not your last time.
Yes.
We are bringing you some joy from Owensboro, Kentucky. I don't even know if we mentioned where we're from or where we're at.
No, we haven't in a while. We just
haven't.
assumed.
Yeah,
We're like,
just
don't
assuming
Google us. It's fine.
Yeah.
It's fine.
You're not going to find us if you do.
I'm on the internet somewhere.
I mean, you can.
Guarantee.
Yeah, you can definitely you'll find my old cooking videos.
Oh my gosh, everyone please go do that right now. Brooklyn Maple cooks.
That's not what it was called.
Yes, it
but,
was.
I mean, I'm sure
That
you
was
can
her
find
YouTube
us too.
channel. Only pants. Just kidding.
Oh my God. Stop it. Today we are doing so much fun. We're trying to get a lot done so that we don't, have those moments where you guys don't get to listen to one of our podcasts. We're oddly busy in the month of February, so we're both going out of town a lot.
Yeah.
And so we just kind of have to double up some days, and today's a double up day.
Today we're double down. Double
Yeah.
penetration.
That's what it feels like when you have to do that much research and that much preparation and then sit here for probably what'll be closer to 4 hours as we
I didn't wear my watch because I didn't want my watch to be like, stand up. I did not, because that bitch will shame me, shame me.
And it's going to happen today if it's ever going to happen.
But it's for a good cause.
Yes.
Yes. I want to talk about this.
I'm
Did you
ready.
happen to see the priest in Michigan, the story about the priest in Michigan on
No.
Instagram? Okay. So this guy temporarily dies, right? He says when he got to hell, Rihanna's Umbrella was playing like that. And then he came back. Could you imagine being Rihanna and be like, so my song's in hell, huh? Like,
It's a very catchy song.
hey.
I don't understand.
Right? He came back and was so serious. He was just like, that's the song. Like, first of all, you never would think that would be the song. It
Yeah,
would
never.
be like something Will listens to.
Like Van Halen or some other shit. Like, I don't know. I just don't see it being
Yeah. Mine would
R&B
be. So what would your hell be? That's what I want to ask you. Mine would be
rock. I hate rock music.
Miley Cyrus Party in the USA on
That
loop.
would be.
That would be mine. Love Miley now. Hated that.
Version of her. Yeah. I don't know if it would be rock because rock is always like that awesome, like, playlist for life events, it's always the good music in the back of a freaking movie or something, but I don't know.
Do you have one song that makes you mad, like Party in the USA?
Oh my God, I can't think of it right now.
I hate it.
I know, and I love that you
The
hate
butterflies
it. I always
fly
play it.
away.
Yeah, I can't think of it right now.
Nothing.
I don't know.
I'm trying
Nothing's
to think
coming
of
to
one.
mind.
You don't like Billie Eilish?
I don't.
Every time Bad Guy would come on, you'd be like, ugh.
That song. There we go. That's the fucking song.
So
God.
Brooklyn is anti Billie Eilish.
Okay, I'm anti that song.
Okay.
And I don't know. I don't want to say I don't like someone forever.
Okay.
Because you could also be madly in love with somebody like Tyler Childers, who I loved everything about him. And then he stopped drinking and found God. And now he's basically like a Baptist preacher.
Really?
His last one came out. I don't know. Everyone to each their own. Go to Zach Bryan if you need somebody, because Zach Bryan is crushing life and I love him. No, it's like kind of gospel-y. And it's really disappointing because the way he was before was like just heart-wrenching Kentucky boy. And now it's like, are we at church? I'm confused, but I don't know. That's weird.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
I don't know. I just saw it and it got
I like the
my
way. Did
attention.
anyone talk about the fact that he went to hell? He's a priest and he went to hell.
You know, I read it. Never once thought
That's
about it.
Oh, that's the first thing I thought about.
Never
I was like, aren't we
once
talking about the
even
fact that he went
crossed
to?
my mind. I was so hung up on that it was Umbrella.
Wow.
I know.
I'm just blown away.
I don't. Y'all
that
Google and
priest
tell me.
went to hell.
I've moved past that story, but I just saw it and was like, that is interesting.
Wild. All right.
The other one, I didn't even read this because when I went to scroll back through it, like my phone swished the news feed on through. But there was a guy that tried to abduct a woman at Bridgestone, and then like herd of women tackled him, and they like held him until the
Fuck yeah.
Like,
That's a good story.
Women. Yeah,
That's a good story.
I
I don't
know.
think that I would like. We're in a day and age now, fucking finally, if you ask me, that we would step in if something was happening. I
Yeah.
like to think that we would step in as a human race. That we would.
Some people
do
sadly
that.
get their phones out. And
You're
just
right.
Video
Oh
that.
man, you're totally right.
And they're like,
Gosh, people
ooh,
suck.
I'm going to sell this to TMZ. Not
Yeah.
like that woman's going to get murdered.
Oh, I would definitely tackle a guy. I'm also always packing heat.
She's always in a 3-point stance with her gun.
I'm pretty
ready
much
to tackle.
ready. I still think to this day I'll never shoot it. I would just hit someone with it.
Oh my
I've thought
gosh,
about that
that's
every time. I was
so-
like, I would come up to the person with my gun and I would not shoot them. I would hit them in the back of the head.
Well,
Because
blunt
I'm
force
not trying-
trauma.
Yeah,
all these buzzwords.
it's gonna stop you, and I hopefully won't go to jail. You never know.
Man. So you just need to carry around a rock. That's what I'll do.
Just a
Someone
big-ass
make me
pebble.
a gun-shaped rock. Well,
Go
if I'm
for
not
it.
going to shoot it,
I
I
mean,
don't need to go get the bullets and the certification.
In that particular case, I think if like some crazy shit was happening, somebody was attacking me, yeah, I'm gonna try to shoot. Obviously.
Crazy. Yep.
Anyway,
That's my best friend. She protects me. Protect
Yes.
and serve. Yeah. That's that's really all that I have to banter about
awesome. Well,
since
I'm
we're
all
DPing
for
it today.
us diving into the story. So today, I would like to donate.
To donate.
I wish I was going to donate. I mean, I do donate all the time to a lot of different causes, but that's not what I was going to say.
Whoa.
What's the word that I was looking for? Dedicate. There we go.
She was going to donate.
I was going to donate this episode.
This episode's going to Goodwill.
Yeah. No, I wanted to dedicate this episode to my sister, Brittany Marshall.
Yay.
Yay. I love you, Brittany. This episode is going to come out on Thursday and her birthday's on Saturday of next week.
Cute.
And so I just wanted to, we're not, fuck whatever day it is.
You get it.
Just Brittany, know that this is recorded whenever day it is, but it's coming out the Thursday before your birthday and that I'm
Yes.
dedicating it to you and that I love you.
Yes.
And I think you're a really awesome sister and mother. And thanks for
That was
being
cute.
mine. Okay.
Wait. So I just want to say,
Yeah.
I hope that Brittany likes her birthday donation.
Me too. To the Goodwill. No, okay. So for this one, in true couple of Sassholes fashion, to
Yes.
dedicate an episode to somebody, and she being my blood sister, that we felt it was important for us to have siblings who either kill together or kill each other.
Dun, dun, dun.
Yes. I don't know what Heather's is. What's yours?
It's a surprise.
I mean, is it like siblings kill, or is it really like all the way to the end? You really don't want me to know.
I really don't want to.
Cool.
Yeah.
I totally get it. Well, I'm going to go first then.
Yes.
And mine are about the Scissor Sisters, which sounds hella sexual to me because I don't know how they came up with this. And isn't scissoring when two women have sex? Okay. That's
the
all I
word
have
on
to
the
say.
street. That's what the kids are telling me these days. Feel free to write her at Brooklyn. A couple of sassholes.com is her email address.
Yeah. Yeah. Anywho, I just thought it was a terrible.
That's a terrible name.
That's a terrible name. I only needed 2 rounds of freaking works cited pages on this one, and that's crimeinvestigation.com and, you know, my favorite bitch wiki. This is so fucked up.
Okay.
This is so fucked up. You cannot write this. Like, you could not. If I read a book that was like this, I'd be like, that's pretty fucking ridiculous.
Oh, you're.
I wouldn't
oh,
believe
really?
it. I would.
You wouldn't
be a
call me
struggle.
and be like, tell me about it.
I mean, I would.
Okay.
That would
I know
still
about it,
indeed
yeah.
happen. But it's just, I did a skimming. I found it. I was super excited. And then once I started digging into each character in this, it was like, what the absolute fucking shit fuck? What the fuck? So let's do it. Let's do it.
All right.
Do it.
Here
All
she
right.
goes. Here she goes.
All right. So first I want to paint the picture of what this family is like.
Okay.
When I started doing the research, it almost made sense. I hate
Okay.
to say that, which is crazy because there's like, this is not your everyday family. And if this was how you were brought up and if this was the turmoil in your life, and what the fucking happened. I don't know. I mean, okay, I wouldn't say that you'd likely do this thing, but it kind of just makes sense.
Okay.
And when a lot of bad happens, it's not shocking when the outcome is more bad.
Yeah, they're not teeing them up for success. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I'm very, very grateful that I did not grow up in a family like this.
Okay.
And you will too. So let's begin.
You look so smart when you said that with your little glasses.
I went back in. I closed my garage door and went back and opened it and went back into the house to get my glasses because I was like, bitch, why do you keep doing this? You have to keep your paper so far away because of the microphone. Mm-hmm. And I was like, I can't freaking see, and we're doing a double. It's like, I'm going to get my fucking bifocals and I'm going to be smart today.
There you go.
Did it. Also, if you are from Dublin and you know any of these actual words, or if I'm saying any of the last names wrong, or Somalia or something crazy that is in this story and I say it wrong, I really don't care. I spent a lot of time finding the information. I did not find a lot of time going in and trying to figure out how to say everything right. So I'm just saying that. There's a lot of words I don't fucking know.
We are allowed to have disclaimers. It's our show.
Yeah.
It is our audio project.
Yeah. We do.
We make the rules.
How we want it.
And we love you. Don't divorce us.
Yeah, please listen and don't get mad.
Okay.
So let's begin.
Yes.
The Mulhalls. I feel good about that. Mulhall.
So, I mean, that's what I would have leaned into.
Perfect. Mm-hmm. Thank you.
You're welcome.
They were from Kilcar Gardens, which is a working class area in Tallegat, North Dublin. Oh, God, I said North Dublin. It's South Dublin. Don't know how I did that.
You were worried about pronunciations, and now you're just throwing directions around. Tallaght,
like Talget. So, yeah, that's what it is. Kathleen was married to John Mulhall, and they raised a family of 3 boys and 3 girls. Her husband, John, was allegedly abusive, and things get a little weird about how the relationship ends, but we're going to get there. Today, we'll focus on her 2 daughters, Linda and Charlotte. All right. So Linda's the oldest. She's 30 years old at the time of this incident in 2005. She, too, is a mother of 4 and fell into an abusive relationship with lifelong criminal and thug Wayne Kinsella.
Ew.
This guy had served time for killing a pensioner who'd been visiting his wife's grave at the time. So a pensioner, because I had to look that up, I was like, what the fuck? Keep in mind, this is all written like in Dublin. Like the wording is kind of different for things. Mm-hmm. A pensioner is literally just somebody who receives a pension. So essentially it's just an old person.
They're retired?
Yeah. So yes, if we can stop and realize this, her boyfriend killed a man who was literally visiting his dead wife's grave. Yes.
Off to a good start.
Yeah. And this fuckwad has nothing to do with the murder that takes place, but I think it's really important to paint the picture of what kind of environment they were all living in and what seemed to be more like, I don't want to say normal behavior, but what was behavior that was happening around them with people that were close to them.
Okay.
So when I was looking at crimeinvestigation.com, it kind of just said that about him. Well, then I looked more into Wiki and started looking at like, who is this fucking Wayne Kinsella guy? Mm-hmm. Well, what's really crazy here is that he was a murderer, and then he also beat the kids regularly. He wasn't the father to the kids, but he did beat them. He ended up doing 7 years for beating them with an electrical flex, which whenever I looked that up, it's basically a big electrical wire that you would find in like the ceiling. Like if we took those ceiling tiles down, we would see those. Very confusing. But he ended up doing 7 times for it, and the kids were like taken away at one point.
What is it?
Apparently, look at how crazy this shit is.
Okay.
Apparently, this guy was so violent that he would beat his parents when he was a kid.
What?
And broke his sister's jaw.
Okay. Psycho. So a little psycho.
Yes.
Okay.
There's a lot more on this guy, but I'm not digging into him because this isn't fucking about him. He's a psychopath, and he's now in jail for life.
Good.
He ended up stabbing and killing someone else in a field, too, a 29-year-old, who he says was involved with killing his brother, who was shot and killed somewhere. And...
What? This does sound like a book.
Yeah, and his sister does an interview, and she's like, the guy had nothing to do with that. So he just stabs the guy to death in a field and like says that that's why he did it.
Wow.
Yeah. At this time, Linda, she is addicted to heroin, and she's the one with the 4 kids dating Kinsella. She did a little time for larceny too in 93.
What's larceny again? I forget.
Stealing people. Or stealing people? That would be trafficking. Stealing, I believe what I glanced at it, it's like robbing a business. Yeah.
So
not
like
necessarily a person.
Big thing. Okay.
Yeah.
I got it.
Yeah. As for her younger Scissor sister, Charlotte, she had been a drug user with a history of petty convictions. Probably a little hard to strive for greatness with the whole scenario kind of going on.
Yeah.
She also apparently practiced prostitution. And I worded that in a special way. I was like, she practiced prostitution.
So she was a sex worker?
It didn't seem like... I have a feeling she probably did it for drugs, not necessarily that was like her full-time job.
So she wasn't like giving hand jobs. Like, how much do you think that would cost since she was
Behind
practicing?
the alley, yeah.
She was just practicing. She's like, did that feel like $10?
Did that feel like?
Did that feel like a bag of crack? Yes or no?
How
Check
big
yes
of
or
a
no.
bag of crack? Do you want to do it with me? Okay. So anyway.
Okay, back in.
In 2002, her mother, Kathleen, she starts to date this guy, Farah Swaleh Noor, and he's a looker.
He's a looker.
He's more attractive than anyone else in this whole scenario. But he moved into the...
Oh, no.
So Nora moves into their family home with Kathleen, and John Mulhall takes some of his children and they move out. Yes. So somehow she gets into this intense enough relationship with this man, but somehow she was still living with her husband, who was abusive.
Okay.
I don't get that.
So brother, husbands.
And then the dad, John, right?
Okay.
He ends up renting various accommodations in Dublin over a period of a year. Then they move back. He moves back into the home after Kathleen and Noor moved to Cork.
Okay.
And then they end up coming back to Dublin in 2004. So they're just kind of moving all over the place. I had no fucking clue where Cork was opposed to Dublin. Did you? Cork to Dublin. I was thinking they're like flying all over the place because I'm a fucking, I am geographically a dumb fuck.
Why would we
I'll
know?
be honest with it. I don't know shit about fuck when it involves a map and international travel.
The only Cork I know is the one that you're not popping in January.
Thanks for the reminder. And it's only 3 hours away.
Oh,
so not
just a hop, skip.
Yeah, it's Miami to Orlando, if you will. Now, supposedly during this entire time, though, too, Nora was also beating Kathleen. Yeah. So there's a lot of turbulence in the relationship, physical violence, drinking, substance abuse. Mm-hmm. It's really a powder keg of emotions, if you will. Nora wasn't really a great guy either, though. Mm-hmm. You can't really expect like a banker or an accountant or a web designer to be like diving into that kind of family environment. But
yeah,
this guy is special. And what I mean by special, I mean a fucker. So please buckle up as I tell you his rap sheet. This is pretty much everything from Wikipedia. I did not add any additional parts to this. I'm reading this word for word from there.
All right, let's go.
I'm doing it.
All right.
So he's always claiming that he was Somali, called Shalala Salim, whose family had been killed during the Somali Civil War. Subsequent investigations revealed that he was in fact a Kenyan and that his family was still alive.
Oh, so just made that up.
Yeah. The Department of Justice, Equality and Law Reform ordered that he be deported, but he appealed and was granted Irish citizenship in March of 1999 because he had become the father of an Irish-born child. He had 4 previous convictions for offenses including intoxication, threatening and abusive behavior, and assault. In 1997, he raped a mentally disabled 16-year-old Chinese girl, got her pregnant, and she gave birth to a son. 2 other women had children by him, and both said that they had been raped by him. Noor had faced 8 charges of disorder and assault, one involving a sexual assault in which a knife was found at the scene by Gardaí, or Garda, that is the cops in the UK. He was convicted of 3 occasions, but never served time in jail. Noor lived in a number of areas in Dublin, including some places I have never, Dunloghair or something, and Fir House, as well as an inner city before moving in with Kathleen.
Okay.
They described him as being very violent towards women.
Sounds fucking like it.
I am blown away. I mean, I don't want to say I'm blown away because this whole fucking thing is about to be ape shit banana pants, but
it's about to be.
Yeah,
so that was nothing.
This is not it.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
So he's an ass fuck, but I also don't understand with like Kathleen. I don't know. Like, did she not know any of this? I really wonder. I'm gonna sit here in my wonder pants, whether or not
in your wonder pants.
Yes. Like she knew, but it also sounds like they're terrible fuckers. Like, Linda was dating a murderer who beat her kids. So.
Yeah. I mean, it doesn't sound like this is going to be, or this was on ABC Family.
Right.
God. Fridays at 6.
Yeah. We don't often get to tell stories about the victim being a raging asshole, but today is the day.
Good.
Yeah. So it's St. Patty's Day weekend, March 20th, 2005. We'll end the night in Kathleen's flat that she rents in Richmond Cottages in Summerhill.
Okay.
As you can imagine, they decide to tie one on.
I mean, Ireland at St. Patrick's Day?
Yeah.
Could you imagine?
No.
Oh my, it'd
I
be
could
like, let's do it one day.
Okay.
Bucket list. Yeah, y'all heard it. Yes.
Linda, Charlotte, and their mother, as well as Farah Swali Noor, I'm just going to call him Noor, had been drinking heavily in the Dublin city center. Noor bought vodka, and Kathleen had purchased a Coca-Cola, in which they drank as they walked around the city before stopping at the River Liffey boardwalk, where Charlotte and her mother decided to take ecstasy tablets.
What?
Super casual experience with your mother.
I've never done that, but it sounds... I don't think that's a bonding experience I would choose to do with my mom.
Well, when you're heroin addicts, I don't know either. That's also,
I mean,
yeah.
The world is their oyster.
You're
They're
right.
a heroin oyster.
They return to the flat where the women take ecstasy. I don't know if that means that now Linda took it as well. I'm not really certain on that one.
Yeah.
But it sounds like all women are on ecstasy.
Everyone's high.
Yeah. So then Kathleen crushes a tablet into Noor's drink because she wants them all to be on the same buzz. I really wonder if you knew that, because ecstasy like makes you touchy-feely, but also the guy's a fucking pervert. So
I feel like
what transpires later, I guess none of it should really be that shocking.
okay.
So let's keep going.
Okay.
Linda and Noor are sitting on a 2-seater couch with Charlotte sitting on the arm. Linda the oldest, Charlotte the youngest.
Okay.
And Noor started touching Linda in a sexual way. He spoke into her ear, put his arms around her waist, and refused to let her go because he is a rapist.
Does he?
And yes, that is right in front of his girlfriend, and it's her young daughter. So Kathleen, so she gets pissed and she starts screaming at him. And I guess obviously an argument occurs. Everyone's on fucking, they're high on drugs and alcohol. At some point, Kathleen says these simple words, "Just kill him for me." That's all it takes.
What? Okay.
Charlotte picks up a Stanley knife and struck Noor across the throat, and that wound ends up sending him right to the ground. Linda then picks up a hammer and hits him on the head a number of times. I also wonder why the fuck they have a hammer sitting out in their living room, because this does not look like the HGTV kind of family.
I mean,
I have so many questions on a hammer just being out. I'd have to go so far to go get a hammer in my house. But anyway.
Who knows what just random stuff is just laying around, though.
Very true. I mean... Very true. Their mother watches, but she doesn't participate. Noor ends up being stabbed at least 27 times. Could have been more, but there's no way for them to tell after everything is said and done.
Holy crap.
And this is where I wanted to talk about it. If you have ever taken ecstasy before.
I have not.
So ecstasy is very much a party drug in Miami. I spent 9 years there. I have done ecstasy many times in my younger years. It is not something I've done in 15 years. Let me just preface that. But ecstasy, the high on that is you want to listen to house music, you want to dance. Essentially, you're dropping a shit ton of dopamine from your brain onto your brain stem. You're being thrown into happy.
Okay.
And you want to party, and you want to drink water, and you want to pet a dog, and maybe have some sex, maybe some sexy time. So I cannot fathom anything.
Sorry. You can't escape past that. That's funny.
Because I feel like that's what the drug, I mean, I did Molly, not ecstasy, and Molly and ecstasy, I'm pretty sure they're really,
Are they
really close
Scissor
sisters.
Sisters?
I was going to say that.
Oh,
but
sorry.
I'm pretty sure they're really, really similar. I don't know the difference between ecstasy or Molly, but they were always kind of referenced as the same. No part of that made you violent,
mad,
crazy, mad, or anything.
I never thought about that.
Ever. And that's why I'm so confused. Because if it was cocaine or heroin or meth, I would get it. But you're literally taking a happy pill.
That makes sense. But that makes me think they might have known his extracurriculars and all his extra.
I don't think so. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah,
Who fucking knows?
I would think that
because they didn't do shit about the fucking other guy. So I don't know.
You get shoved over the edge when you're like, okay, that's it.
I don't know. I
Who
don't
knows? That's just me speculating. But.
Yeah, back in. Mm-hmm. Linda and Charlotte then drag his dead body into the bathroom where they now begin to dismember him.
What? Really?
So here, I just can't. Murder's already horrible, but then you have to cut them up. And everything feels crazy when you're on ecstasy. And I just don't understand how the brutality and the gruesomeness and everything happens on this drug. I just can't figure it out. And so it takes them hours to do it. And
Yeah, I don't think that would be easy.
Yes.
And they didn't plan ahead. Okay.
No, it all happened out of nowhere. So his head, limbs, and penis were severed using a kitchen knife and a hammer.
What?
They then put towels over his legs to try stop the bleeding.
Oh.
As I said,
Towels?
it took,
Wait.
there's so much blood.
And then they're like, oh, yeah.
Yeah, just trying to stem some of the bleeding that was happening.
Yeah.
So it takes a number of hours, and all the body parts were placed in plastic bags and a sports bag before it was disposed of in the Royal Canal. That wasn't a one-trip wonder, everyone. They actually had to go back multiple times to do this.
I've heard the story. I just now remember
torso
when you
killer
said
or something about the torso?
when you said the duffel bag. Okay. Keep going. Okay. This is awful. Keep going.
I'm going to keep going.
Okay, good.
They weren't idiots, though. Kind of. Well, we can all decide on that one. They decided not to throw the head in because they wanted to prevent identification. What about the head, you might ask?
Yeah.
Get ready for this one.
Okay.
Can't make it up. The head was brought by bus to Talagat or whatever, guys.
Whatever.
Where they walked through the Square Shopping Center.
No way.
To Sean Walsh Memorial Park. They walk to a spot, and then Charlotte digs a hole with a knife, which just feels weird, and they bury the head. They throw the knife. Kathleen throws the knife and the hammer into a nearby pond. It's like me going to the fucking dog park and burying a head in the dog park. And I didn't even walk or drive there. I took a head on a bus.
Was it in a bowling bag? And the only reason why I ask is because he's a piece of shit.
I have no idea.
But
supposedly, though.
Okay.
A few days later, Linda ends up coming back and she digs up the head. Because I don't know where anyone is in this fucking park. Where are people?
I mean,
they're just taking huge black garbage bags into walking and just throwing. I don't think I can just do that downtown in the Ohio River.
And this wasn't a long time. When was this?
2005. Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
It's not like people were just litter bugs all the time, and they were like, "Oh,
I'll just dump my trash right in the water."
They must have had a large party throwing away their catering.
God, right
stuff.
In the canal.
Mm-hmm. With their poop in the street. That's what she
right. Always the poop in the street. Supposedly, so I said she goes back, she digs it up, and she puts it in her son's school bag.
Huh? Why?
And takes it to another field where she broke it up with a hammer before burying it all over again.
Huh.
Keep in mind, Linda is kind of the one that did the murder.
Yeah.
She's the one who she's the one who first slit his throat, right? Cut his throat with a knife, and then she's the one who had the knife and stabbed him. The other sister essentially just beat him with a hammer in the head a few times. What? But then they did all this other shit.
And then they're just moving his head around like they're playing Pokemon Go and just walking around. Okay.
Yep. Well, 10 days later, Noor's leg with the sock still on his foot is seen floating down the canal. The cops get their divers and they find most of his body in 7 different parts. They find out who he is only by the t-shirt recovered on his torso as someone reaches out and remembers it.
Whoa.
Kind of want to stop and realize, should we have just taken off the clothes?
They took his head and put it on a fucking bus, but they couldn't be like...
And they cut his dick off.
Yeah.
But they didn't take the shirt off the torso.
Well, I don't... So, yeah, you're so insightful today. Picking up on so much stuff.
I mean, I ponder on the shirt part. I really ponder on the shirt part.
Yeah.
And I also ponder, your shirt right now is Stay Out of the Forest for My Favorite Murder, but I don't know how many of my shirts where you'd be like, I buy some of my shirts from Sam's Club. There's another 60 42-year-old women in Owensboro that are wearing that same fucking shirt.
Good thing we're together almost every day, though. I'd be like, the bitch was wearing orange.
Yeah.
That. I know that's her. She was wearing orange.
Yes.
That's her.
The key witness ends up being a Somali man who was the first one to connect the missing Noor to the 3 Mulhall women. And he was paid a substantial reward by Crime Stoppers. So go him. This random guy who knew fucking Noor ended up being the person who cracked the case.
Good.
That's how quick it pretty much goes down. FYI, his head and his penis were never found. The 3 were arrested in August, so just a few months. It happened in March. Now we're in August. But of course, they denied any knowledge of what happened. A number of weeks later, shockingly, Linda contacts investigating officers, and she actually admits to her involvement.
Oh.
Yep. The cops take a voluntary statement from her at her home in Talagot in August of 2005. Until this, they had like no progress in the case. So they probably could have gotten away with it.
Wow. But she opened her mouth.
Yep. When the cops searched the flat in Summerhill, they found bloodstains that were, of course, a match to Noor's.
Yeah.
As soon as she had confessed, her mom legit fled the country, and they couldn't find her until January of 2008, 3 years later.
So she got away for 3 years?
Yeah, the bitch was living in England.
I was going to ask you where she went.
Mom
She
of the year,
couldn't even
man.
go to a non-extradited country. That would have been smarter.
No, that she's, I mean, maybe it would have been, I don't fucking know.
I didn't,
Flag,
like-
maybe passport. I don't know.
Who knows?
Who knows? Let's talk about the court case here
Okay.
and who got what. They were both charged with murder and they both pled not guilty.
Okay.
The trial took place in 2006 and Linda was found guilty of manslaughter and Charlotte was found guilty of murder. Wait, I think I was backwards here. Charlotte's the younger one? Yeah, Linda's the older one. My bad. Well, we're going to get to it. Why, you ask? And this is where we're going to get. So I'm thinking it's because Linda did hit him with the hammer, but I was backwards. And Charlotte was the first one to cut his throat and also had the knife. And so she was the one that stabbed him. So I had him backwards.
Okay.
Linda's jury basically accepted the defense of provocation. In law, provocation is when a person is considered to have committed a criminal act partially because of a preceding set of events that might cause a reasonable individual to lose self-control. This makes them less morally culpable than if the act was premeditated and done out of pure malice.
Yeah.
So they're basically like, because my sister cut his throat, I hit him in the head. And then she just went crazy and started stabbing him. Charlotte was given the mandatory life sentence and Linda was given a 15-year sentence for manslaughter.
15.
Yeah. I wonder why she was the one going back so much to I don't know. Maybe because she was the older one.
Linda was the one that went to them first, right?
Yeah, she's the one that
Maybe
went.
they
She's the
gave
one
her
that
a
kept hiding
lighter
it.
sentence for going.
Well, I just explained why. It was because she got the defense of provocation.
Yeah. It just feels like a light. I mean, she still beat the shit. Okay. I don't.
I mean, she hit a guy 3 times with a hammer.
Yeah.
And she got 15 years. That's a little not light.
Yeah.
Like that would be if he wouldn't have died and they hadn't cut up his body and did everything else afterwards,
Yeah.
then she wouldn't be in jail. Like maybe 3 years or something. I don't know. I'm not a fucking attorney.
With your glasses, I beg to differ.
Who would know?
You could defend me in court.
The judge argued that Linda, a heroin addict, had initially tried to halt the trial by refusing to take methadone. I had to look up methadone because I got very confused here. I was like, so the court wants her to take meth. That's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
And that is actually something that you take to help relieve the cravings and remove the withdrawal symptoms of a heroin addict. Just so you know.
I actually knew that from TV, but I'm
I
glad
did
they
not know
explained
that. So basically, her leave to appeal was refused for both sentences.
Oh.
Linda appealed the severity of her sentence on the grounds that it passed without psychiatric and probation records. This appeal failed as they basically said, like, no, you got what the fuck you deserved. Charlotte then requested another appeal for her conviction on the grounds that the Justice Carney had put pressure on the jury to reach a verdict, even though the foreman had indicated that they were deadlocked. This failed on the grounds that the defense did not raise objections to the comments during the trial and the fact that the jury was not affected by the alleged undue pressure to reach a verdict. So basically, they tried multiple times to get out of jail for this reason.
Yeah.
They tried to appeal, as everyone has to. Everyone tries to appeal.
Go down swinging, I guess.
So Kathleen voluntarily returned to Ireland in February of 2008, and among other offenses was charged with 2 counts of giving false information to the cops about Noor's whereabouts and withholding information which she knew or believed would be assistant in prosecuting her daughters of his murder. She was also charged with impending an arrest in the murder investigation. She pleaded guilty to helping to clean up the crime scene to conceal evidence. She was sentenced to 5 years in prison in May of 2009.
Wow. It's wild.
It's a crazy story.
Yeah, a little bit.
Well, it gets more sad. So
Okay.
the outcome after everything then kind of shattered the Mulhall family, because not all of them necessarily were. Well, I guess not all of them were that terrible, but let's talk about it.
All right.
So sadness continued, though, for the Mulhall family after everything happened. Their father, John Mulhall, he hanged himself in Phoenix Park when his daughters were charged with the killing in December of 2005. He was not believed to have been involved in the killing, but simply couldn't live with what his daughters had done and the publicity around it. At the end of the day, they had his last name.
Oh,
Like, that's the first thing I thought was like, they have his last name.
yeah.
And so, of course,
And this is everywhere.
everywhere.
Yeah.
And it was so gruesome and brutal.
Yeah.
Linda turned to alcohol as she had in the past and cut her arms, which put her into a psychiatric hospital for over a week. I don't know if that was in jail or not. It didn't really say.
Yeah.
I mean, you can find alcohol in prison, so whatever. In April of 2009, she claimed to a fellow inmate that she, in fact, smashed Noor's head and distributed the fragments in rubbish bins in the Phoenix Park, not in that field. Supposedly, this first disclosure of where Noor's head had ended up to be referred to as The Final Secret of the Scissor Sisters by Cormac Looney in the Evening Herald. Charlotte caused further national controversy in 2008 when photographs of her jokingly holding a knife to the throat of a male prisoner in Mountjoy Prison was leaked to the press. As a result, security in Irish prisons was increased, and Charlotte was moved to Limerick Prison, the only other Irish prison that had a women's unit. The girl's brother, James Mulhall, he pleaded guilty to the robbery of 2 prostitutes, claiming that he robbed the women to support his own 6 children and his sister's 4 children, Linda's children, that he took on after she was jailed.
That's a lot of kids.
So then her brother went to jail trying to feed them.
Yeah.
So that is the intense, wild, crazy story of the Sister Sisters, Linda and Charlotte Mulhall.
Whoa.
Yeah.
That was a lot.
That was a lot.
I don't remember half of it. It's just as soon as you said that they threw it in the creek or river or whatever it was, I remembered it.
Yeah, I was like, I need to double check because I think I got myself. You ever get those moments where you're like, you confuse yourself and you're like, did I get the right sisters? Yeah. Linda is the one that ended up stabbing him. So I am kind of confused about, didn't she get the least sentence?
Yeah, that's what you'd said. And then she went to the cops.
So Linda gets 15 years. She to me is the one that started it. She's the
Was
one that
she
cut
the
him.
one that he felt up or no?
No, it was her
Okay.
sister.
Okay.
But I guess that's where my question is like, so Linda, I mean, she kind of stabbed him to start, but maybe it was the hammer to the head. That is what they're saying is that defensive provocation. Like if my sister hadn't beat him in the head with a hammer, I wouldn't have stabbed him. But that's very confusing. It's
weird.
And I think you're right. I call bullshit on the jury picking the defense provocation and that she got a lighter sentence because she's the one that came and told. Because she did all the shit.
There's no way she could have been like, yeah, I'll testify against my sister if you like, I would never do that to you.
There's no part in this story either where they talk about like how close the sisters are.
I mean, they call them the Scissor Sisters, but it sounds like some
they
like
didn't even use
journalist was
scissors?
just like, hey, let's call them that.
Yeah.
Like, I don't feel like there's nothing like the something sisters.
What?
The sisters that My Favorite Murder talk about, they should be called the Scissor Sisters because everyone thought they legitimately scissored.
Oh.
Yeah.
I don't know.
And that's why they killed their masters or whatever. Anyway, that's another story for a later episode.
Apparently.
But like they should be called they're just like, well, they're sisters. There's not even scissors in that.
I know. Knives and hammers. I don't know. It's crazy.
Wow.
I don't know.
Well, Brittany, I hope you liked your...
I love you, and this is how I show my love for you. I tell you about 2 sisters who brutally murdered their parents' lover.
I mean...
It's fucked up.
Yeah. Woo.
Yeah, I told you can't make that shit up.
Now I gotta go after you?
Yeah, good luck. No, I'm kidding. I didn't write it. I'm not the author. I'm just retelling.
Yes. Scissor Sisters.
Crushed it.
That was good, though.
Thank you. We should stand up now just so that we can tell our watches not to tell us not to stand
My
up.
watch can suck my dick because it's at my house. But yours can. Do you want to stand
I
up? Do you want to do a
randomly
lap?
stand up and do
I'll
a stretch.
talk to myself while you go. No? There she goes. Big stretch.
Big stretch.
Big stretch. You really are.
I am stretching.
She's stretching.
Things popped.
What? Things popped?
Yeah, like my collarbone.
Locked and
Back
dropped?
in.
Okay. We've been in.
I know. I'm back in.
You
I
are
just
back.
stood up.
Back to the table.
I am.
Not going to tell you the name of this. I'm just going to tell you the sources. And here we go.
All right.
Oxygen.com, Murderpedia, YouTube, and Bad Seeds, Season 1, Episode 2, which was an ID special. I mean, obviously the name gave that away. Emphasis on the show because definitely got lazy. Did it this morning.
Is that
And
lazy?
here we go.
You had to edit the
I like
podcast,
to-
load the podcast, Do research and then do another research. I don't think anything that we've done this week could be at all constituted as lazy.
You know, I was just fishing for a compliment.
We just spent
Thank
like
you.
fucking 8 hours on this podcast this week.
I appreciate it. Well, we'll remember this.
When we're
Write
famous.
this down. Write this down. When our names and lights. Okay, ready?
I'm ready.
Rochester, New York. It's a city with about 210,000 people with a higher crime rate. In 2020, for example, they were one of the highest murder cities in the United States based on like per capita. So I never even thought of Rochester, New York ever in my life before.
I was just assumed New York is naughty, full of naughty little people.
You will use any excuse just to say that because you sound like a dirty nanny.
I don't care.
You're
I like
naughty.
it.
Sit in the naughty square.
Yeah,
That's what she said.
See, and you do it so well.
Well, you know, I like this. Keep this complimenting.
Oh my God.
So, let's talk more about me. Pause. Okay. Okay. Well, with a lot of murders, obviously some of them go cold. November 8th, 2005, Detective Glenn Weather was able to close one cold case when Robert Spahalski walked into the station and confessed.
I don't remember that name. I don't know the story. I don't think.
Yes.
Who knows?
Finally.
I don't remember names that. Who knows? We'll find out.
Names, faces, she forgets it all. Robert was a violent guy who was very well known by the police department. He was a big drug user and he got in trouble with sex workers quite often. So Robert walked in that day and he told him that he'd killed a woman and she was in the basement of his house. I love that you're looking at me trying to figure out what story it is. I can see it. Okay. They take Robert into an interrogation room while cops race to his house. They went to find 54-year-old Vivian Arizari on the basement floor and apparently she'd been strangled. Robert said that he loved Vivian and was super close with her family. They were neighbors. He used to like let her kids stay there if they were going through a hard time, stuff like that. He was in, like, I heard him talk a lot, unfortunately. So apparently Vivian came over to his house and they do what they normally did and they decided to get high on crack together.
I was like, what do they do? Are they about to do it? There's so many things that they could do what they always do.
Now, what if I said play Jenga or something?
I'd be like, that's a cute story. Be like, how did it
They
end
played
up in
Heads Up
strangulation?
7-Up and
Heads Up 7.
did not look at the shoes like everybody else did. Okay. For some reason, he said that crack mixed with the voices in his head and he picked up a hammer
What?
and beat her 4 times. Apparently, he too had hammers laying around. He said then that he knew she was brain dead at this point, so he tied a rope around her neck to kill her the rest of the way.
What the fuck?
He made it sound like a mercy killing, but it was all his fucking fault.
Oh
She
my
wouldn't
God,
be dying
yeah.
if he didn't fucking hit her in the head with a hammer. But anywho.
Gosh, I couldn't imagine getting hit in the head with a hammer.
Yeah. No.
We have talked about so many murders where people were hit in the head with a hammer.
Yeah.
Like a lot.
There's a lot.
There's a lot. I hope I
Yeah.
never get hit in the head with a hammer. I hope
Well,
I never
hope
do
that for
heroin
you.
and that the heroin speaks to me and that I hit someone in the head with a hammer.
I know, because it would probably be me. There's a good chance.
Yeah, it would probably be you.
Oh, God. Okay.
We're never going to do heroin together.
No.
I'm done with
she
my
does it
drug
alone.
trying
No kidding.
days. I like to do my heroin alone.
The
in
worst
private.
drug you do now is you're like, I took 2 ibuprofen. I'm like, can you calm your tits?
Yeah, no.
Hakuna Matatas.
I have a headache.
You have.
I need
I have a
the
headache.
ibuprofen.
I think I should take another ibuprofen. I only took 1. Okay, now I gotta go. Okay, I'm gonna go. This is really kicking in.
Okay, I'm ready.
Yes. Once the drugs wear off after he killed Vivian, he said, oh shit, I killed my friend. And then he went to the police station. They said it's like apparently normal for people to come in and say that they killed someone, but they usually don't believe them at all.
Wow.
Yeah, which I thought that
Wow.
was interesting that they were like, yeah, people come in all the time and say they kill people.
That's like when people are like, I'm pretty sure she ran away. And they're like, no, I literally saw someone take her and put her in the trunk. I'm sure she just ran away. I'm sure that was her friend.
Yeah,
and it was a
luckily
joke.
they didn't hit. They actually took him seriously though, but they had known that he was violent anyway and he had a past. So
I didn't know that you had. Okay, I'm going to let it fucking go.
what?
Like, oh, well, they were like, oh, he had a past. So they took him seriously. He fucking said there was a murdered
No.
person in his fucking house. Just
Yeah.
fucking go. How hard is it?
Yeah.
How much time does it take you to go over there, motherfuckers?
They
God.
did. Luckily, yes, I agree.
Ugh.
So they dove deeper into Robert's life and they figured out one thing that made him stand out from everybody. He had an identical twin who was already in prison for murder at this time.
Ooh, the plot thickens.
Stephen Spahalski was Robert's identical twin who'd already be in prison for 20 years at this point. So on the show, they called him a Xerox of evil and 2 halves of an evil whole.
Someone
they
felt
gotta
really
do.
proud about that.
You could hear it when he said it.
Yeah.
They said that they don't remember any siblings who have killed. Like they had siblings that had killed together, but never killer twins. They started looking into their background to get answers. So, backtrack. December 12th, 1954, the boys were born in Elmira, New York. Stephen was first, and then 5 minutes later pops out Robert. They grew up on a 40-acre dairy farm that their dad owned. Big, loving family, had money.
Of course.
You know how that goes. Robert and Stephen leaned into the fact that they were identical, and he even called it magical. Like, hearing them talk is so weird. Like, you can hear, if you guys want to watch this and listen to things, you can hear them talk, and they're fucking wackadoodles.
Where do you hear them talk?
There's a podcast on the Bad Seeds Killer Twins that...
Not any of the shows or anything?
The show too, but they made it into a podcast, so if you just want to listen to that too, you can do. But yeah, and it's YouTube. They're all over YouTube. Oxygen's done stuff. Like, you can look them up for sure. They would trade places in school. They kept to themselves a lot, though, and they gained notoriety because they were both, like, ripped. They were 6'2". They were gymnasts and track stars. Even one of them wanted to be in the Olympics. They were naturally competitive with each other, though, because of this. They would always try to one-up and be like, oh, I dare you to do this. Robert was, like, the alpha, though, and he was always more violent. I never foreshadow. They told a story in the show that Robert went out to his dad's favorite pig and shot him right in the head. They asked why. He said, oh, I wanted pork chops. And it was kind of like a pet. So, like, he ate his dad's pet.
What a fuckhead.
Yeah. And he just was like, oh, I just wanted pork chops. And he had no...
And he had multiple, like, pigs, too? Like, what an ass.
Yeah. And he wasn't mad at his dad or anything. Basically, he's a raging sociopath. And hearing him talk about all this, and he laughed, and I hate him. Okay.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Things started escalating for the boys, though, because their dad ran off with the secretary and abandoned them. And he was like, stay out of trouble and keep your nose clean. And they're like, we're already getting in trouble, but okay. Like,
yeah.
They were already starting to teeter on that line.
We're already naughty.
Yeah. There she goes.
Yeah.
There she goes. A doctor on the show said that it was the combo of anger and a birth defect of sociopathy was the perfect storm for this. The boys started getting into drugs shortly after this. They were only 15, and they named every drug known to man pretty much. They said their motto was sex, drugs, and rock and roll, as every 15-year-old. What? Like, it's just...
They're cool.
There's something. Robert was even offered a full gymnastics scholarship, but he ended up turning it down because he was on drugs so bad. They started committing petty crimes to fund their drug habit, and they kept, of course, having to outdo one another. Robert was quoted saying, I can't even get this out without laughing because he's an idiot. Robert said, I thought it was always romantic to be a burglar. It leaves a smile on my face when I think of it. Romantic.
Going into people's houses while they're, okay.
Mm-hmm. The cops said if there was ever a petty crime in Elmira, they always looked at them first. They were, like I said, chiseled gymnasts, 6'2", and they used that to their advantage. And they referenced that quite a bit.
I'm sure they did.
Yeah, even though now they look...
Were they good looking?
They're not now. I didn't really find any pictures of...
I'm looking them up. What are their names?
Robert and Stephen Spahalski.
Oh, fuck, of course. Something I don't know how to spell.
I never thought of this, though, but the cops were like, yeah, of course it was trouble that they were identical twins because they have the same DNA. And they can never... Like, if you saw one brother, you don't know which brother it was. So technically, it was harder to pinpoint that on them. They also said that Robert was a loose cannon, though, and he always had been. They were predators, and at the time they were doing this shit, they started targeting gay men.
I hate that.
Yeah. The gay men, and the cops were very remorseful in this when they were talking about it. They were like, unfortunately, the gay men had to be on the down low at the time, so they had a small, tight-knit community in that area. They started mugging them, beating them up. They would go get hit, like try to hitchhike in that area to get picked up to then beat the shit out of them and rob them. Of course, it just keeps getting worse and worse, and so does their drug use. So Ronald Ripley, he was an owner of a store there in Elmira that sold high-end cooking equipment, and like everybody knew who he was.
Hey, real quick. There's a lot of twins who murder, by the way. I'm looking it up, and I can't find them because there's so many.
Identical twins?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
These two identical twin girls that were teenagers murdered their mom.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
I think I remember them, too.
Sorry, I'll stop.
It's okay. Thanksgiving Eve, 1971, Ronald said he was going to get groceries but never returned. They found him the next day in the basement of his store, stabbed multiple times with a head wound from a hammer to the back of his head. This was the worst crime that town had seen in over 40 years. They found Ronald's car near the Spahalski twins' home and had found cars there before, so they like that they had stolen. So it's kind of like they were like, haha, the cops already know that's where they put them. A witness said he saw two big dudes in the car the night before, so then they go to find them. They want to talk to Robert first because he's the one that's more violent. They said that when they brought him in, he thought it was cute, and he was cocky, and he was being just such a fucking bastard the whole time.
Ew.
Like, gross, yeah. He took a polygraph, though, and was telling the truth when he said he didn't do it. But he failed whenever they said, do you know who did? So obviously they went Stephen.
Yeah.
And they tapped his phone. They catch him yelling at someone and saying, if you don't do what I say, you'll end up like Ron Ripley. So then they got a search warrant after he said that.
What fucking idiots, man.
They found Ronald.
Ew, Ronald is Heather's hardest name to say.
It really is today.
Just call him Ron.
Ron. Okay. They pulled Ron.
God.
Well, I typed Robert 14 times. That's why I had to keep correcting myself.
Way to go.
I know. Crushed it.
Nailed it.
Well, at least I got a B on my paper today, just so you know. They pulled Ron's car keys out of the toilet pipes. That's how they connected them. Stephen,
so they flushed his keys?
They flushed his keys.
Because they thought that would...
Yeah.
God.
Dumb. Stephen was arrested on May 4th, 1972, and he confessed immediately. They thought it was going to be way harder than that. And he's like, no, I did it. Although they didn't know for sure, but some people think that Stephen was meeting him to hook up, and they got into it, and then they killed him. But the cops just said it was a robbery gone wrong. Stephen said Ron threatened him with a knife, and they started fighting. That was his, and then he was defending himself.
Right.
He says to this day that he doesn't feel bad about it, and he deserves it. Stephen said, that's life in the fast lane. That's all. I'm not trying to get famous off of it.
What the apps? Wow.
I'm telling y'all, you need to look up what their sound bites because they're fucking
crazy. It sounds
crazy.
like they're crazy.
They are. Okay, so Stephen goes to jail for this, and then Robert has to figure out life without his brother, and they've always been together. Robert gets his own apartment, but he continues being a shitty thief. He gets caught stealing $23,000 worth of guitars and music equipment, and then he goes to jail. But guess where they send him?
With his brother?
Uh-huh. And they said it's not common, like, it's not uncommon for them to get sent to the same prison, but like identical twins, they shouldn't have put them. They normally would have flagged that in the system somewhere. I don't know, because
they let like mothers and daughters and sons and dads, they end up.
Yeah.
You know,
they said based on what their background was. And
these guys were so gross looking.
Yeah. Yeah. They apparently, though, so in prison, they're big weirdos, and they decide that they're going to be crazy, and that's going to keep people away from them, right? They said on the show that crazy always beats tough.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Like they would like walk across the prison yard on their hands because they were gymnasts, and they would do all this weird shit just to draw attention and make people not want to fuck with them. They also said that they loved the shock factor too. So they played the crazy card. In 1979, Stephen Spahalski was paroled, and that left Robert behind. It's really weird though, because that was only like 6 or 8 years. I couldn't find the answer, but like, why did he already get out? He killed somebody. Stephen goes right back to the same crime lifestyle, and he starts committing armed robberies though, and he gets a B squad friend, I guess, to replace his brother. Now, I mean, he's got to do something, right?
Yeah.
Now he's 26, and he gets arrested for armed robbery and attempted kidnapping, and that got him 30 years back in prison. Then Robert gets out and continues on his shitty life path, and that's not shocking there. So now we're in the 90s, because I know I've been jumping around a little bit.
You usually do.
I do.
You do.
Yeah, I do. Well, we're jumping. He became a sex worker. He was a pimp. He sold drugs, and he gets really, really hooked on crack. He says this made him lose it and become homicidal and schizophrenic. So, what?
I'm just like, oh.
A mind-altering drug. And they used to do acid, and they said they did over 300 acid trips when they were like 15.
Yeah, doing like crack and drugs and stuff, that's what made you schizophrenic?
That's what he said.
He became, okay.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I know.
Man.
So remember when I said at the beginning in 2005 when he went into the police station, he just kept saying, I just want to get this one off my chest, and told them about the story of Vivian. They soon learned that this was not his first murder, and he'd been killing for over 10 years.
No way.
Mm-hmm.
That's
why he kept saying this one. Maureen Armstrong was once this is so sad. She was once a second-year college student, and she got addicted to crack, and then her life went in the shitter. Her addiction made her turn to sex work and to fund her habit.
Always.
And she lived right across the street from Robert, and that's how they knew each other, because they both were sex workers. So one night in 1990, she said, "Hey, come over and let's party." So he goes over to her house. They smoked about $100 worth of crack, which I
have no idea. How much is that? How much cocaine is that? How much weed is that?
I don't know.
How many ecstasy? I have no idea. I couldn't tell you shit about fuck anyway.
Yeah,
God.
You can get 12 bottles of NyQuil. I don't know. I was like, I'm assuming that's a shit ton.
I'd assume.
Because they always talk
what is
about
it?
20,
Heroin?
Crack.
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 Google.
Well, because they talk.
I'm gonna remember wipe my shit if I.
Yeah. They talk about $20 bags of crack all the time.
Yeah.
So I'm assuming, so 5 bags, I guess.
$100 worth of.
We're gonna wait for that answer.
I know. I want to know.
I do too.
Of crack.
Man, you're definitely gonna have to wipe
How
your
much does
Google
crack
stuff.
cost? Okay.
How much does crack cost? Is a Google thing.
I did. I just want to know. Crack cocaine street value. The average cost is $109 currently, right? Like this is now. Reports from more recent years suggest the drug costs from $60 to $100 per gram.
Huh.
I still don't
understand how much that is.
Do you want to know crack cocaine street names?
Yes, let's. Yes.
24/7, Bad Rock, Beat,
Bad Rock,
Black Rock, Candy, Chemical,
They
Cloud,
just call it chemical?
Cookies, Crumbs, Crunch and Munch, Devil Drug, Dice, Electric Kool-Aid, Fat Bags.
Fat bags. I haven't been called that in years.
French fries, Glow, Gravel, Grit, Hail, Hotcakes, Nuggets.
Oh, that's what I call D'Angelo at work.
Paste, Prime Time, Raw, Scrabble, Sleet, Tornado, Troop.
What?
There's more in
Let's
there.
just
Jelly
start.
beans, Ice Cube,
Oh my God, she can't stop.
Hardball.
Oh my
Okay,
God. What'd you say? Fun bags? Fat bags.
Fat bags. Fat bags.
I'm change my name in your phone.
Would never. That will never happen.
Fat bags. Oh, God damn it. All right.
I'm sorry, I had to just give you
It's
some fun
okay.
facts.
You know,
Hashtag
that
fun facts.
rabbit hole, I jumped down with you. So
Yeah. I couldn't help it. I was like, dang, that's a really great website. If you guys want to know.
that is. Yeah.
I know how quick a body will decompose.
You know, lots
in
of
water
things today.
and dirt. No, that's all from my Google history.
Yeah.
And also crack. So
And I Google, like, do penguins have balls or something?
do they?
I don't remember what the answer was.
I feel like
It's been a little while.
they're probably tucked up. Anyway.
I mean, they're always cold. Why? Who cares?
Right.
So, okay, back in. $100 worth of Scrabble. And they had sex. When they were done, he demanded money for.
He's so gross looking.
He demanded money, and she's like, "Are you kidding?"
For the drugs?
For fucking him. And she's like,
Oh,
yeah." And
are you
she's
sure?
like,
Are you sure that's why?
Yeah.
I say that because was it his drugs?
No, hers.
Oh.
And she's like, "Why? I
just did
gave
drugs.
you drugs, you idiot!" And she gets mad at him.
She could have any sex.
Yeah.
Like we're women. We own the card.
Yeah.
It's literally our pantry, and we let them in for snacks. I'm just confused.
Pantry.
Yeah. I might reorganize mine later. Just to go through the pantries. Anyway.
Oh my God.
What? I'm reorganizing my closet today.
I know, but you said you might reorganize yours
not
later.
my
and
vagina.
I was like,
I don't know how to do that.
What's in disarray? I think I can drop you off at urgent care if you need a minute. She's got to reorganize things.
Yeah.
I don't know what that means.
Anyway,
But
tell me
we're
the
gonna
rest of the
keep going.
story.
Okay, so no money for sex because he got drugs. She gets mad, gets in his face. He hits Moraine and then grabbed, and I'm assuming it's probably with a fucking hammer, but I didn't put that down. He grabbed a flat iron cord and strangled her with it. And then there's a recording about him talking about it's not like on TV. It takes way longer. He's a fucking piece of shit. The cops were like, hey, he kills for pleasure and he gets his rock off of shooting his dad's pig. So now he's finally done it. Like they knew about him being a piece of shit this whole time. So when they go, the neighbors are gathered outside. After the cops were on the scene, they had the tape up. And one of the guys outside was Robert, like outside of her place. The cop looked at him and was like, "That I have a bad feeling about you." So like next day they figure out she's dead. people are standing around being looky-loos. Robert's in the crowd, even
Wow.
though he did it. And the
Well,
cop
that's
looked
not
at him and he
shocking, I
said
guess.
that the hair on the back of his neck stood up for some reason when he looked at
Maybe
him.
it's because he looked like a fucking wing nut.
Yeah, I mean,
You
I'm
guys
sure
Google,
he did.
the spelling is complicated. It's Spahalski.
Yes.
Look them up.
Oh, yeah.
You'll want to take a shower after just seeing them. Blech.
Yeah. So during this time, while Robert was being a murderous asshole, Stephen is in prison still.
Right.
He's on his own journey. I'm only mentioning this because they do. He starts transitioning into a woman, not surgically,
What?
but he leaned into his feminine side, if you will, with everything that he possibly could.
Okay, quick question.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. So he was gay? Openly gay?
Bye.
Bi. Okay. And his brother?
One of them only admitted to being bisexual, but they think both of them were.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
One of them was on.
I don't really care who likes what kind of wine.
Yeah.
I was just curious what they bought at the store that day. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I think that it's just whatever was on the shelf.
I hear ya.
Mm-hmm. But they said that even when he did this, because you would think from all like the movies and shit that would be a kind of a tough road for a prisoner to do. But they said everyone still left him alone because they were scared of him still because they knew he was he kind of developed a reputation for being a badass. So even as a woman, they still left him alone, which blew my mind. But I mean, he's also 6'2" and huge. Like they kept talking about his physique and.
All right.
Yeah. So I just thought that was interesting. So I had to throw that little tidbit in there. Okay. Back to Robert. Outside of jail. And I know I'm jumping around, but you're doing a good job. You're hanging in there with me. I can feel it.
Are you talking to me or
Yes.
the other people?
I'm talking
trying
to-
to look up their faces again.
Oh, it's okay. I figured you were.
Because I can't get past this right now, so I'm having
Yeah.
a hard time. Sorry, because I don't think I noticed the swap. Okay, just so you guys know, if you are ever near Heather and you're recording a podcast with her and you pick up your cell phone, she will look at you like she's going to shoot you. And
Sorry.
and it's always for the podcast. I'm
Yeah.
never in here like, you know what? I really do want to buy that shirt from Amazon. But she just looked at me and I'm like, no, I just can't. I didn't see it in the
I didn't
face.
mean to give
and
you
I'm
that
trying
face.
to figure. Is it that one?
I think
Steven.
that's
Steven?
the one.
That's
yeah,
Steven.
Steven is the one. He has longer
Okay,
hair,
I was
right?
trying. That's all he did. Is what it looks like. Is he just grew his hair out?
They said he would try to use things that he got his hands on. So I'm assuming it's what I've seen on the jailbirds shows. Like they take colored pencils and make eyeshadow and try to make.
Okay.
So I think he.
Got it.
Yeah.
Okay. Thanks.
You are welcome. Robert and his new girlfriend, Adrienne Berger, that he apparently mooched off of financially, they started messing around one night, right? Once they started to have sex, he says he lost control and just strangled her to death and had no reason for it.
Were they on drugs?
They never mentioned if they were or not. I'm assuming they were, but because
He's just banging his girlfriend. Is like, I'm gonna. Okay. Wow.
And he said the feeling overcame him and he just did it.
Huh.
Still to this day, he doesn't have a reason. He's like, she didn't make you mad or that's what he said.
Huh.
There was a heat wave in Rochester, New York at the time, which is where they lived, and it was like 100 degrees out. So several days later, neighbors began reporting the smell of death outside. They could see flies swarming. Yeah. She was unfortunately so decomposed that they couldn't even get a cause of death for her. So it was sad. The same cop that had seen him already looked him up, figured out, oh, she was dating Robert also. So then he's like, fuck this guy. And then he immediately lawyers up whenever he sees. He's like, no, I'm not talking to you. And he gets a lawyer. Since they couldn't pin it on him and there was a lack of evidence, he just got to walk away for now.
Oh my God.
So he thinks he's unstoppable, but he doesn't stop there. Charles Grandy. I hope I'm
Hashtag
saying that right.
unstoppable.
Oh my God. Charles Grandy was a 40-year-old bisexual man who met Robert at a bar and they had hooked up before.
Okay. So he is. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
After they hooked up this time, they started arguing and Robert hit him over the head with a hammer and stabbed him. Does it sound familiar? The same way that his brother, the exact same way almost, killed Ronald Ripley before. Robert, however, he cranks up the heat in there to full tilt.
Ew.
So the cops can't tie him because he's already gotten away with it one time by doing that. And they can't pin it on him again. All three of these were within the same year. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So then he just chills. He stops
So why'd he turn up the heat?
to decompose the body so they can't.
Okay. That's what I thought,
pin
but
it
then
on.
I don't think I. Okay.
Yeah. he calms down for a minute, and then in his life path, he contracts HIV. The cop kept saying he still needs his dealer, and now he needs a doctor too. They were very proud of their one-liners in the show. The last murder this piece of shit was able to commit was the one that I mentioned at the beginning, was Vivian Arizari in 2005. Robert said they did drugs together. He was so high that he started to think she was a demon that he needed to eliminate.
Right.
After he killed her, he says, and you hear his voice saying this too, he smoked 2 $20 bags of crack, watched a porn, and then he went to turn himself in because he couldn't control his killing urge anymore. He finally admitted to killing all of them: Vivian Arizari, Moraine Armstrong, Adrian Berger, and Charles Grandy. They go to tell Stephen what his brother did, and he's not shocked at all. He said, I thought I was the only murderer in the family, but if he did it, there must have been a good reason. On December 13th, 2006, Robert is charged with 4 counts of murder, and 3 hours later, the jury came back, and he was sentenced to 100 years to life for all of them. Stephen now is in Attica prison for a parole violation, and Robert is going to die behind bars. They're not in the same prison anymore. That is the fucked up story of the Spahalski twins.
Ooh.
Yeah.
That was a nasty one.
Yeah.
A lot of crap. Well, so what we have found out,
Hammers and drugs.
our very smart way of doing our research, everything that we have, all of our findings, is that siblings who kill tend to be on epic amounts of drugs, and they all have hammers near them.
They all have.
So if you're hanging out with your sister or your brother and you're doing a little bit of that heroin or that candy,
You're going to work in all those days.
Do you have
any ice?
A fucking hammer near you.
Yeah. I'm going to have to go home and put all of them up.
Yeah.
I'm not fucking around anymore.
Yeah. Now I'm I might hear about the devil and just take him out. Gosh.
Yeah.
Woo. Ew. That one was like left me feeling kind of dirty and gross.
Yeah.
I think too because the guys were so looking,
yeah. See, you kept looking at their face, and now
did you look at mine ever?
No, not yet.
So Kathleen Mulhall, she looked like if someone was going to play her, it'd be Catherine Zeta-Jones after like 40 years of serious, epic substance abuse.
Oh.
And they all have eyebrows that are drawn on, and they are like the tiniest line of an eyebrow I've ever seen in my entire life. So if I just type,
I'm not going to Google Scissor Sisters. I might get some weird stuff.
Do just Mulhall.
Mulhall Sisters.
It's not going to show you the mom, but it'll show you the sisters. They were actually rather pretty. The youngest one was really pretty.
Oh my. Yeah. You nailed that description.
Thank you. I personally don't know who the sisters would be in a movie, but the mom was pretty obvious. So, yeah, I just think your people were grosser looking than mine.
Oh,
and looked really creepy and terrifying. And they murdered a lot of people.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, well, siblings who apparently don't kill each other. None of them seem to kill each other. They just like to kill together.
There was a
together
bunch,
but separate.
Yeah, there was a bunch of the ones that I found that were the siblings that killed each other.
You did? I didn't find any where they killed each other.
Yeah. I just wanted to go a different route.
I didn't find any where a sibling killed the other sibling.
Really? Not even like a 15-year-old that went killed the whole family
I didn't
or
want
something?
to do like a kid because I've seen 8-year-olds that body slam their 5-year-old sister and killed her, but that one literally happened.
Oh.
Yeah, he did a wrestling move on his sister and killed her.
Could you imagine?
He was a kind of a wackadoodle dandy already.
Oh.
Like it was kind of a violent kid as was, but I think I don't remember, it wasn't my kid, but anywho.
Thank goodness.
Yeah. So we did have somebody actually reach out and tell me, Mike from Duck Camp that my boyfriend goes to, he gave me somebody that we should look on. And I might actually have to dive into this one. So keep in mind, you can always text us, call us, leave a message on Messenger.
Leave a message, yes.
And let us know. What do you guys want to hear about? It's really nice that somebody gave us one because now I just get to add it to the list. And actually, they gave us 2. We can dive into those.
Perfect.
Anywho.
Yeah.
Well, happy birthday, sister.
Oh, yay. Happy birthday,
you
Brittany.
Enjoy getting older than me every year because I enjoy it.
You know how mad that makes me because I, too, will be 38 this year.
Yeah.
So.
It's a good life that I will be 36 this year. and later than both y'all. All right, everybody. Well, thank you. Like, listen, subscribe.
Yes. As
Please.
always, tell your mom
Yes.
and tell your sisters. Not
Especially
your
your
sisters.
siblings.
I knew. Oh, I thought you were going to say sisters.
I was going to say siblings.
Oh,
we
sorry.
let you bye.
Okay, bye.
Theodore, can I bet that